We've covered sourcing your voiceover artist, negotiating terms including costs, expectations, timescale, and of course, you have provided as much detail as possible about the project and the script. We're about to start the session. You may have chosen to leave the VO to their own devices and simply record and deliver, or let's imagine that you and a colleague want to sit in on the session and give direction, guidance, and thumbs up for particular takes. Before we hit record though, in either situation, we need to consider connecting, basically creating some rapport quickly. You're about to begin a working relationship with a stranger and hope to complete the project in a time-limited session. The choice of voice, the way in which they perform and capture, or not, the essence of the brand, reflects on you. If we can quickly create rapport, that connection between you and the VO, believe me, not only will the session run smoother, but the end product will be superior. Now, as the voiceover myself, I'm lucky to have built long-term relationships with clients who get me and I get them. We've worked on so many projects together that they are at ease to let me do my thing. And if it is a directed session, then we click, sometimes with them declaring, "That's exactly how I heard it in my head." There are a number of factors at play here: professionalism, my experience, instincts, flexibility, and playfulness. And just as important as my skill set is the connection that we have. We are part of the same team. Now, you've dialed in to work with the voice. You're using Zoom audio or perhaps something like Source Connect or Clean Feed, which were mentioned in the preparing module. You, your colleague, and the voiceover artist have aligned diaries for the session. You have 1 hour to cover, let's say, around a page of text, around 500 words. Here we go. There's money and reputation at stake. You're a little bit nervous. Perhaps the voiceover is a little anxious and hoping that their internet connection doesn't drop out or something similar. Before we hit record, it is essential that both parties put effort in to make that connection. Here are some ideas as to how you can do that. Introduce everyone on the call, who you are and what you do. Big them up, compliment them and say why you love their audition read and why you chose them. This will instantly make them feel good and confident as the session begins. Thank them in advance for making themselves available for the session. Ask them how they prefer to run the session. Do they want to dive in and record the whole thing, or work section by section? During the record, allow them to bring their own ideas. After all, this is what you've employed them to do. Remember what we covered in the preparing section on intentions. Don't leave it until now to decide what you want out of the session. Make sure you have discussed with the client and colleagues what you want the end listener to think, to feel, and to do. If you have done everything we covered in that section, including making a clear decision on what role you want the VO to play, then it should be plain sailing from here in as they hit record. Here are a few tips on giving direction during the session. Whether you are recording your end, capturing using Source Connect or similar, or they are recording locally to then deliver the files to you, the same direction tips apply. If you are a team, then have a leader, a director, and take suggestion, but try not to confuse the actor with too many cooks. It's a good idea to get the client in on the session if, say, you are producing a video for them. Get the approval at the recording stage to save time. Trust their professional instincts too. After all, you have booked them not just for their voice, but for their experience in recorded spoken word. Try not to bombard them with too many directions. Make the most of the time and get varied and alternate takes so you don't have to rebook another session at additional cost and hassle. Mark takes. Or ask the voice to mark a specific take if you loved it. Some VOs really dislike being given a line read, but sometimes if the VO is just not getting the phrasing you have in your head, then of course, go ahead and let them know, just not for the entire script. Instead, collaborate playfully to find the right tone, emphasis, energy, and pace.